Hey, thank you, Abhishek, for giving your time, and also to MAPIC for building out the leadership series. Abhishek, in the conversation today, really I've got five or six larger themes, which we can speak about. They're not really questions, but like I said, more topics, that I want to discuss with you. Uh, the first one is really that, you started building out these assets in Delhi NCR, and the model was really to kind of do these metro assets. You took them on lease, you turned them around, you built them out, and then you also kind of moved into the tier two market. You did Dehradun, and then now I understand you're doing this massive regional center in Jaipur. Uh, it'll be important for a lot of people who hear this to actually see what's the journey. And I'll tell you why I asked this, because you've gone from tier one into tier two, which I think is a natural progression. But there's something in tier two that you've obviously seen that you've gone there. Second, you're one of the few large houses in the country who are building malls, who's one completely private and has no external capital. And I'm going to come to that as a question later. So what's been the journey of actually building this out, and what's the thought process behind it?
Great. Hi Anuj, and hello, the MAPIC team. Thank you for arranging this. I think it's always a good opportunity to brainstorm on these questions and maybe duck a few. Uh, so,
I thought this was a good starting question.
I'll start with your first question, Anuj, about how we got involved with Metro and what got us into building these retail assets with Metro. As you know, Delhi is a very landlocked city, and the only guys who have land is either the corporation or the Delhi Development Authority. So besides that, then came out the DMRC, which had some FSI, be it land or above or below metro stations. So that
Right.
was the only third authority that you can actually go to get some FSI for commercial usage. Now, DDA and corporation, have been uh, there for a while, and the kind of FSI cost that they've been working on is just becomes very, very difficult for retail to achieve. I remember I was looking at a auction in Nehru Place, and that auction FSI cost in itself was running in excess of 20,000 rupees a square feet. That was the FSI
Wow.
cost. So there is no way that retail can make money with the kind of interest rates and then the timelines to build and then the construction cost. I would have to lease in excess of 600 rupees a square foot to even make a decent 15% ROI. So that just didn't work by buying. So DMRC model was very good. We had to lease, so there was lesser upfront payment and more payment towards monthly rentals. So that kind of worked well for retail because your income starts only when your mall is open, and your expense also
Right.
starts. Major expense also starts only when the mall is open. So I think the availability of having FSI to consume and the costs involved, I think both put together was an important aspect. And second, we also realized that Delhi will slowly start moving on metro. The transit-oriented developments have worked internationally, and that was just the future that we saw. It was deep into the neighborhoods where the actual people were living, residing, densely populated areas. So I thought those transit-oriented developments were key to kind of move into. And we got an opportunity to build something unique along the metro stations, which have worked very well. And I mean, we see now how people are really, it's become so easy to access our shopping centers, which are close to the metro stations. So I think that collaboration with the metro worked really well.
Got it. I mean, two learnings for me.
Yeah,
And somehow I heard of a retailer speaking here, though you're not one. But it actually became a earn and pay model for you,
yeah,
which is exactly what I mean. The
a retailer
tenant is
does. Yeah,
earning and he's paying, right? So I
yes,
think
yes.
that's I think great. But would you have wanted some of these metro developments that you built to maybe be slightly larger than what they are, or you think they are the ideal size?
No, so this is a very typical story. When a development starts doing well, then any size is a small size, be it a million square feet or 1.5 million. And even if it is a 200,000 square feet, if it is doing well, it appears to be small to you. But having said that, we must also remember that metro is built for commuters first and then for property development. So the
Right.
whole master planning has always been with a focus on commuter first and then property development, because that is a secondary income stream for them. So could they have been better commercially planned from property development perspective? Yes, but I still think that commuter first approach works better for them.
Got it. And the journey from moving from NCR into a Dehradun and then doing this massive center in Jaipur.
Yeah, so I mean, we always had this what do you say, inkling about smaller cities because we come from smaller cities. I mean, I've born and brought up in Patna. I've studied in Ajmer, so I know how smaller cities work. I'm not the typical Delhi or Bombay boy who's all his life only lived in larger cities. So I understand the aspirations of smaller cities, and I understand what they need, and how they look at shopping or entertainment or going out. So having understood that, we started looking at the cities that we could manage within our bandwidth, closer to Delhi, and something that we could operate well. And that is how we started moving out. And when we moved out, we went to Dehradun. Today, we have two very successful centers there. One is 11 years old, and the second one, we just celebrated our first anniversary on the 1st of June.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
thank you. Uh, so when we started operating, and there we saw there was a dearth of quality developers who were willing to put the money in only on a lease model, and that was where the gap is. And we thought, why not? If we see an opportunity, why not invest? So it was just about creating that bandwidth. We already understood that the opportunity is there, the aspiration is there. We just need to build the right product. It took a lot of convincing in the beginning to get the retailers to go to the smaller cities, because they also had their own notions about those places. A city which is only 1.5 million people is not a very big number from India perspective.
Sure.
So we had to do a lot of convincing, but I mean, it worked out very well. And today we are building a very, very large center in Jaipur. Now, Jaipur, the city itself is about 5 million plus. So I can't call it a smaller city. And if I take the secondary catchment put together, I'm crossing about 7.5 million people. So it's a very large, chunk that I will be servicing. So, and hence
And
size.
Jaipur has a lot of malls, but it hasn't seen something of this
Exactly.
scale and size.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Again, the
it's
gap of
probably it'll
having
consolidate the
an
city also from
organized
that
developer
perspective.
coming up with an organized retail environment, that is what is missing in most tier two cities today.
Good, but I'm going to take my next question
Yeah.
probably from Jaipur. I mean, you're building out this million square feet, and my understanding is in the portfolio, it's probably the first million that you're
Yeah.
doing as well.
It's actually
Uh,
1.5 million.
million and a half, let's say 1
Yeah.
million plus.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, retail's kind of gone through its own maturity curve over a period of time. And, you're building this in today's day and age where, you're building this probably for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Uh, just quickly, some points on, is there anything that you're doing differently to make this asset stand out?
Yeah. First and foremost, size does bring in the differentiation. That is a given.
100%.
But what I am very, very mindful of the services that I'm providing in it. So for example, if I'm doing 1.5 million, I am putting 3,000 car parks in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So these, it's just one point of the service. I am building a multi-level car park, which is 1,500 car parks. I'm building express ramps, which are taking the cars directly to the fourth and the fifth level from the ground floor. They don't need to go into loops going up to the fourth or the fifth level. I've made this a multi-use property with a hotel inside it. So services, the design, every floor of mine is 6 meters of height. My entertainment is 12 meters height.
That
So
gives volume, yeah, Abhishek.
yeah. So the design and the services is where my focus is. And of course, when all of that is done, my tenant mix will be the key. What will be required for the city? from a national brands perspective or local brands perspective, from local cuisine to international cuisine. I think bringing all that together will be the key. And of course, when you have the right offering in that size, then you're not talking about just Jaipur, but you're talking about the multiple cities surrounding it, taking my catchment to 7.5 million plus people.
Got it. Yeah, but two great points that I take away from that. And I have to summarize. I think the focus really is on, I mean, how do you give customer convenience? I mean, actually,
Yes,
everything that you're saying is how do I give the customer more convenience?
absolutely,
And then,
absolutely,
how do I give the best services to the clients that you really bring in to the
absolutely.
center? So that's great. Okay, the next one is, do you see, and we did this stat back in 2005, there were about 80 odd retail developers in this country who were building malls.
Yeah, yeah,
Come to 2025, that number is probably at one fourth the number. And if you actually look at people who are doing multi assets, it's a single digit number. So I'm saying let's push 5 years ahead from here. Do you see that this market is going to further consolidate and it's going to become a market of five or six, big boys? Because that's what also happens globally. You'll keep having
yeah,
these, two, three,
yeah,
four
yeah,
lakh centers
yeah.
obviously pop in different locations because people will have land,
Yes,
someone will have
yes.
the intent to build or a township. But per se, the larger market, do you see it kind of consolidating and how fast do you see this consolidation happening?
I think a lot of consolidation has happened, like you just explained, and further consolidation will happen because I can clearly say retail is not for the faint-hearted, at least retail development. You need to be,
This is
uh,
this is this is one comment I've heard from you repeatedly over a period of time.
you not only have to be passionate, you have to be eccentric to be able to invest the kind of money retail developments take.
So
And
retail developers need to be abnormal.
yeah,
Normal
yeah.
people cannot do
They
this.
can't do it, can't do it. And I also feel that if you see most of the retail developers today, uh, unlike us, although we also have some, but unlike us, most of the people have a separate line of real estate business. Retail is an add-on. Any developer that you think of today, retail is one of their verticals. It's not like internationally you will see a lot of retail developers who are just doing retail, but in India, you will have it's a mix. Everybody's doing resi, offices, and retail. So I think that specialization is kind of still not so much there in India as it is globally. You would see, and also globally, funds are more into these assets than developers really. So
Which
I
which
would
is
see
what
more.
we're seeing in India
Yeah,
as well,
yeah, in
right? I
India as
mean,
well. Yeah,
capital has
consolidation is
now
happening.
clearly kind of moved
Yeah,
into,
moved
I
into
mean,
the fold.
most retail developers, either they've got public money or private money.
Yeah, yeah. And other thing I would add here is, see, if you want to do retail and if you don't build a portfolio, you must understand that the tenants that you're dealing with, they are portfolio. And if you are talking to one brand who has 30 brands or who has 20 brands, somebody has 10 brands, and if you don't get an equal share on that table, then I'm not sure the kind of deals that you will be doing. So you need to strengthen
Negotiation power.
yourselves. Yeah. You need to strengthen your own self to be able to make any amount of money out of doing deals. Otherwise, you'll be just doling out things that you really don't want to. So I think it's about developing capability and strength both to be able to survive in the industry also at, at some level.
I like the word survive for someone who's built seven, eight malls now.
We are at 10 now, actually.
I'm getting the numbers wrong this time. Okay, I'm a little touchy question. The
Yeah,
next one.
yeah,
The most successful malls in the country, we've actually seen the one, which continuously kind of change and keep evolving over a period of time, and that's what the customer wants. Uh, Now, obviously, on the client side, who are your retailers in, their average payout period or depreciation period is about 7 years. Uh, I mean, the market has matured from the time when people were asking for 15, 20 or 10 years, which has now probably come down to, let's say, a 9 or a 12. But I'm saying, does the customer really have patience to see the same set of brands for that long? Now, assuming you want to churn every year and you want to bring in freshness every year, I mean, what is that method to keep churning? And I'm not saying there are obviously 10%, 12% brand which churn automatically, but how do you continuously bring in that freshness into the asset to keep it successful? Uh, or how do you get the customer attracted unless you bring in that change? So is there a model which you think is going to get developed over a period of time that is going to help achieve this?
So yeah, when you talk about lease tenures, of course they're getting shorter. We used to see 20-25 year leases that came down to 15 years with larger tenants, and we used to see a standard 9 to 10 year lease with line shops, which have now come down to 5 to 6 years.
Right.
So bound to happen, because today which brand is relevant 3 years from now may not. And again, I've seen this a lot at the top level, guys. Who's at the helm of the brand? It directly percolates from the top. There's a guy who's aggressive, doing well. You will see the aggressiveness in the brand and the numbers. And the moment you see a slight change in the leadership, and suddenly you will see a change in the performance of the brand. So ironically, we are dependent on them for the revenue they earn, for the revenue that we earn as rentals. So we always wish कि यार वहाँ ना अच्छा बंदा बैठा हो जो अच्छे से चला रहा हो, अपनी गाड़ी अच्छे से चला रहा हो, because we are in the back seat making revenue out of their sales. So I think that is very, very important to stay relevant. And second, I also think that every 2-3 years there is a new wave of customer demand. And this used to be pre-COVID cinema. Then it became food. Then it became athleisure. Today there are digital brands. It was fast fashion. So every 3 years you will see that there is a different line which is in more demand, and customers are looking at taking them up. So churn is important. But having said that, I would also say that we need to maintain at least a 90 to 95% occupancy in the mall, because if that doesn't happen, your bottom line starts to take a big hit. The
Absolutely.
moment you are touching a 10% vacancy, even on churn, imagine the kind of hit your bottom line takes. So it just erodes a lot. And vacancy ka matlab, it doesn't happen overnight. One shop gets vacant, it's a 3 to 4 month loss easily. The rent is
Yeah, yeah.
gone. Yeah, so that's 30-40% wiped out for that outlet for that year. So, you have to be very mindful of churn also, because you can't just do it for the sake of it, because the numbers, every month loss is a big loss. So yes, we try and maintain a 90 to 95% occupancy. 5% is a healthy churn. And with new agreements, we are also looking at clauses like the trading density, etc., where we know that you have to trade so and so amount annually or monthly. And then if you don't, we get us shops back, or we reduce the size, or we relocate, etc., etc. So those things we keep on doing. But yes, churn is the truth. But having to maintain 90 to 95% occupancy within the mall is also very important.
So healthy churn. I mean, there has
Yeah,
to be
healthy
a
churn is very,
good
very important.
mix of the
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
But what do you think is, and you covered it, it went from cinemas to F&B to entertainment, athleisure, today digital brands. What really do you think is the flavor of the season? And my point is, there's this big rage on digital first brands right now. I mean, do you think it'll kind of follow through? And as advice, how much space do you think in an asset? And more in terms of percentage, because let's not talk area,
Yes,
because
yes.
every asset is different size. So do you actually allocate to some of these, digital first brands?
So again, honeymoon period hai ye, so it's all good. Fundings are visible, but in a matter of time, again, consolidation will happen. And selling online versus offline is a world of a difference. So slowly people will realize that. What I like is in the last 6 months, even the digital brands have taken a cautious approach. They're not opening anything and everything everywhere. So I think that is a good approach to have. But even then, we will see a lot of consolidation happening in the market. The good thing is they have data, and with data, when they open, they know where the customer is and how they are going to service their customer. And the limitation may be that not every time that data may be correct, because that data may be correct for their online presence, but it's not 100% true for an offline store, even though that they may be seeing that offtake in that particular pin code. So that's one. And second, I think depending on the size of the mall, anything between 5 to 8% of digital brands at best is, I would imagine, stretched is the area that I would dedicate to. Not more than that, because the moment you start doing more than that, you will start compromising on your mix.
Got it. Okay. Abhishek, I'm going to put my last question
Yeah.
to you. Um, I mean, my realization is also that, post-COVID, there is some amount of customer loyalty towards brands that has gone away. I remember back in the days, we were very fixated to say that, we like this brand, we want to shop from this brand. Suddenly with the age of digital brands, people have got to kind of shopping online from probably brands they're not even aware of. Uh, I mean, how much of a hit do you think this customer loyalty, which is now happening with the new generations, is actually going to affect how brands really perform? We have seen some examples in the market, and I won't take names, but suddenly we see customer loyalty has just changed. How is that going to affect how we take in brands, or how long do we keep brands? And then obviously that leads to performance. Um, and more so, I asked you this question from my first question, that you have to earn and pay. So that you have to ensure the guy does really well
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for you to pass it on. So how much of this customer loyalty really plays a role in this entire thing?
See, I think customer loyalty is not just in terms of brands. When we also operate shopping centers, we see that the customer is not even loyal to a shopping center per se. It's really the offering that the shopping center makes for the customer to be loyal to that center. So if
But I mean,
somebody
from
has
that
been,
perspective, I mean, you won't travel 10 kilometers if you have a mall at 5 kilometers, right? Unless there is something wrong with that asset. But you
or
will
there is
stay.
another mall in within the 5 kilometers.
Sure.
Yeah. So
So
if
let's assume the mall has a mix, but I'm just saying that how does with moving customer loyalty, how does a developer kind of take care of the mix?
see, I think customer loyalty, it's really about your product. Yeah. I mean, end of the day, it's your product. It's you or me. If we like the product, we'll be sticking to it. It's if the brands are not bringing in the product, no matter how loyal the
Abhishek,
customer is, it will
Abhishek,
move.
you and me are a different generation.
No, no, even the new generation, if we are not giving them the stuff that they won't stick around. If you see the latest thing, you must have seen that the logo market is disappearing. Nobody wants
Hmm.
to wear, even the Gen Z, they don't want to wear those large logos, except a few
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
in Punjab. Yes. But besides that, you will see that the logo market is disappearing. What does that tell you? That they are brand agnostic. Because if I
yeah.
like a t-shirt, I like a t-shirt. It doesn't matter if I have a logo on my t-shirt or not.
Which is exactly where my question
Yeah.
is coming
Yeah.
from.
So
To
then
say
it
that
really
if the
boils down
logo
to,
market disappears, then
yeah,
I'm brand agnostic, loyalty goes away. Then it's about quality,
exactly.
how I see
The
it on
value.
social media, sustainability.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, customers have moved now to thinking, is this brand sustainable? I mean, you and me, when we shop, we never thought of
We didn't, yeah,
all these
उतना
things.
knowledge भी नहीं था. We were not
Uh,
so exposed as the current generation is. So I think they are exposed. How much will they be sensitive towards environment, etc.? Yet to be seen. I mean, fast fashion, we all know, is not really environmentally friendly, really. But today, fast fashion sells the most. So I'm not sure if environment being only environmentally friendly is what will bring in the Gen Z. It will be the value, it will be the latest fashion and availability. If it is not available readily, instant gratification, it won't work.
and how large do you think social media plays a role towards a brand?
100%. I mean, everything is based on social media. If you're not big on Instagram, I don't know. Where are you big? See, obviously there are exceptions with some brands, but majorly you have to be active on social media because that's where your customer is.
I mean, the last decade. I just think there's been a sea change in the way marketers are doing this. But
No, but having said that, Anuj, traditional marketing routes haven't really gone as well. I mean, we are still doing print, we are still doing out of home. Social media का बस खर्चा एक ad हो गया और I mean, whatever we were doing, we were spending that. Now we are spending this also.
so you're saying spend has increased.
Yes, spend has increased substantially. The budgets for marketing in shopping centers, I think the last 5 years have more than doubled.
But what percentage of let's say the annual revenue would be going towards marketing?
Close to 2-3% easily.
That's a big number, yeah.
Yeah. And it is not regular marketing anymore. Like the expectation of a summer season setup is extremely different to what it was 10 years ago. If we were spending, say, 10-12 lakh rupees on one setup, today that setup is costing us more than 50-60 lakhs on just one season, because that is what the customer is expecting to see in our shopping centers.
Great conversation, Abhishek. I think with that, we'll probably wrap up this session. Again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
and
for taking out the time.
Thank
and
you
good
to
catch up,
MAPIC.
catch up, and maybe let's catch
Yeah,
up soon.
it's been some time.
Yeah.
And I'll
Let's
be in
do that.
Delhi soon. We'll catch up.
Done. We'll see you.
Yeah, done.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you.